The Charlie Kirk drama just exploded again after Joe Rogan's newest podcast dropped, and trust me, there's one chilling detail everyone somehow missed. Joe Rogan and Candace Owens just spilled fresh intel the mainstream media conveniently forgot to mention, especially Erica Kirk's raw, emotional breakdown right after the incident. This story isn't clearing up, it's twisting deeper into chaos by the minute.
I'll say one more thing rather explosively. 3 people told me off record. 2 people who have this in a written communication.
I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird shit going on with this.
I know.
First of all, there was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? Took his pants down? This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place.
Here's where things get seriously creepy. Anyone daring to question this story online is watching their posts vanish like ghosts. The official version? It's got more holes than Swiss cheese. And if what Joe Rogan and Candace Owens are hinting it turns out to be true, the public might have to rethink everything and ask what's really being kept in the dark. I'm not here to sell you a theory, I'm just showing you what's been hiding in plain sight. On September 10, 2025, conservative firebrand Charlie Kirk was mid-speech at Utah Valley University when chaos suddenly erupted. Authorities instantly named and arrested a 22-year-old, Tyler Robinson, and shut the case before anyone could blink. Sounds neat, right? Except it's not. Candace Owens just dropped info that flips the story upside down, saying Charlie warned close friends the day before that he felt something bad was coming. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan's latest podcast tears into every official detail, from the so-called evidence to whether someone like Tyler could even pull off what the report claims. Today's deep dive exposes contradictions the investigators ignored, strange moves from people in Charlie's own circle, and growing whispers that this event might not be as random as it seems. Stay locked in, because it's about to get intense. But first, let's rewind for those who don't really know Charlie Kirk.
The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock on it. Like it looks like a modern 30-06 rifle. So a 30-06, so that's the rifle. 30-06 is like, that looks like a very modern looking stock. I mean, it might not be. It might be just a bad.
He remains a leading conservative megaphone, one of the most powerful names in modern American politics. Tyler Robinson was taken into custody. Yet the headline question is simple: what actually happened? This isn't some isolated political blip. It's a tangled, far-reaching affair that could be far bigger than anyone first assumed. Charlie Kirk isn't a throwaway name. He commands massive influence, a sprawling audience, and plenty of formidable enemies. Critics and rivals who have tangled with him span every background. Now the odd, unexplained details from that day are prompting fresh suspicion. Even insiders once loyal to Charlie Kirk are starting to speak up, and their testimonies are jaw-dropping. Brace yourself. What unfolds next may completely flip your view of the incident. Candace Owens just dropped a bombshell on her recent podcast, information that should have dominated headlines. And, predictably, the mainstream press barely blinked. Watch closely. This could unravel into the scandal everyone thought impossible and force uncomfortable public questions soon.
Very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me. Okay? He did not express that to me. So I am telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people. And I am saying this because I hope that these people, who I think are good, will be inspired to come forward with that. Again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across the world, people who want to know what the heck happened at 9/10, that, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did, the day before he died, think that he was going to be killed, and maybe tell us, who is they? Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill?
According to Candace Owens, 3 separate insiders privately told her that Charlie Kirk seemed to sense something was about to go down. He didn't just feel uneasy, he warned them. This wasn't a vague hunch or paranoia. Candace claims Charlie flat out said, just one day before the incident, that he believed someone was planning to harm him. Let that sink in. The day before everything happened, he reportedly said, I think they're coming for me. Even more chilling, 2 of those 3 people actually have text messages to prove it.
Read between the lines. Did Candace Owens insinuated, saying it out loud, that President Trump is behind Charlie Kirk's?
And really process everything that happened with Charlie and what it kind of means in terms of where we are. And I think it is a circumstance where we just know. We just know that he was truly betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump.
A confession both intimate and explosive, one that cracked open a chapter the world wasn't ready to read. Charlie Kirk's own conversations reveal more than any headline ever could. One of the last people he reportedly spoke to wasn't a stranger at all, but a major donor tied to Turning Point USA, the very organization he founded. This wasn't gossip from the internet's dark corners. These were voices from his closest circle of trust. Then came the detail that set everything ablaze. Reports claimed Charlie was attacked from the front, and the marks on his body didn't line up with what officials said. Candace Owens verified those claims through multiple sources, and kept them secret for over a week before finally going public. She stressed she'd spoken directly with 3 reliable insiders and urged them to come forward, not for fame, but for truth. Her tone turned raw as she described the dread of watching a friend predict danger, then watching it unfold. "It's haunting," she whispered, before admitting something even heavier. "This whole thing has made me lose faith in politics entirely. Honestly, it's made me lose faith in Trump himself." Candace spoke with heartbreak about how Charlie gave everything to a political machine that discarded him the moment he became inconvenient. She painted a portrait of power, cold, transactional, unfeeling. And with one final sentence that hung like a storm cloud, she ended it: "When power no longer needs you, it erases you, like you were never even there." Then Candace Owens dropped a revelation that froze the entire room. She spoke about how society only celebrates people after tragedy strikes. The memorials, the renamed streets, the somber ceremonies, the flowery eulogies that arrive too late. "Why," she asked sharply, "does it always play out like a scripted ritual?" The room fell still. She even mentioned Charlie Kirk being honored abroad, and that detail alone sent chills down spines. The implication: something wasn't right. Everyone could sense it. This wasn't just commentary, it was personal. Candace wasn't an outsider digging for clout. She knew Charlie. And by speaking up, she was risking everything: her platform, her reputation, maybe even her safety. Then came the moment that cracked the official story wide open. Candace questioned the supposed sequence of events. "They're telling us this young man disassembled the entire setup, hid it in his backpack, then magically reassembled it after leaving the roof? Please. That makes no sense." Her voice sharpened as she continued. "Do you know how long that would take even for a trained expert? And you expect us to believe all that fit in a normal backpack? Impossible. And how did he even reach the roof unnoticed? No guards saw him. No security footage. No drones. Unbelievable." She paused, the silence thick enough to choke on. Then, in a low, steady voice, she said, "Sometimes the truth isn't where they show you. It's where they hide it." The air went cold. At that point, every eye was locked on her. Even the skeptics leaned in. Because it was clear, Candace Owens wasn't done. She was connecting dots the public hadn't seen. Then came the breaking point: the forensic and technical inconsistencies that shattered the entire official version. Candace revealed she had personally reviewed the published data. According to the report, the suspect was allegedly on the roof, performed a complex sequence of actions, and then, somehow, jumped from a height of 14 feet. The room collectively exhaled. And for the first time, it felt like the story everyone thought they knew was about to collapse. Candace Owens leaned forward and asked the question that silenced the room. "Wait, do we even have video of that?" Someone hesitated before replying, "Yeah, someone filmed it on their phone." Candace didn't miss a beat. "So there is footage of him jumping," she said firmly. "But think about it, if he jumped, was he really the one who did it? Or was that just a staged distraction to mislead everyone watching?" The room tensed. Then she paused, voice low and deliberate. "I have a feeling this was a setup, a trap, not an accident." Joe Rogan finally cut in, eyebrow raised. "Did you even watch the video? Or check his mom's Facebook account?" Someone muttered, "No." Rogan smirked. "You should." That's when things got eerie. Someone online had already noticed something bizarre. Her posts, her photos, everything revolved around one oddly repetitive detail: coffee. Every post, every image, the same pattern. It looked harmless. It wasn't. In that instant, the energy in the room froze solid. Nobody spoke, but everyone felt the same thing. This story was far from over. There were layers upon layers waiting to surface. And then came the part that shattered whatever confidence anyone still had in the official story. Candace revealed that according to the forensic reports, investigators found a non-penetrating impact mark along with a small metallic fragment, wedged near the neck, spine, and shoulder blade. It sounded minor, until she explained why it mattered. "This changes everything," she said. "That mark shows a direct trajectory, a clear path from start to finish. It tells you what was possible and what wasn't." She leaned in closer. "The trajectory is the blueprint of the truth. Either it matches the official story, or it destroys it." And according to her, it did the latter. "These contradictions aren't small," Candace emphasized. "They're massive, enough to tear the entire official version apart." She looked Rogan dead in the eye. "That single detail shows the direction of impact. Which leads to one unavoidable question. What kind of device was really used?" Rogan nodded slowly. "But you're supposed to have an official opinion on everything, right?" Candace smirked. "No," she said quietly. "You don't need an official opinion when the truth speaks for itself. The real skill," Candace Owens said slowly, "is knowing when you don't have enough information to draw a conclusion." Someone across the table laughed nervously. "Exactly. I told you, I never bought it. I still don't. I'm not saying I'd die on this hill, but something just doesn't add up." Then came the detail that shut the room down. Candace revealed that investigators never found a bullet that matched the weapon listed in the official report. That was the turning point. According to documents, the suspect supposedly used an antique shotgun passed down from his grandfather since World War I. But the metal fragment recovered from the scene didn't match that weapon. Not in size, not in material, not in mechanical signature. So if that fragment didn't come from the gun they claimed, she asked, what was actually used that day? And more importantly, who was really behind it? No one had an answer. But everyone in that room felt the same chill. This story was nowhere near finished. Think about it. The entire case against the 22-year-old hinges on the claim that he used his grandfather's antique rifle. But if forensics show the fingerprints and ballistic evidence don't align, the official narrative starts to crumble fast. One insider muttered, "It's already happening. Put your headphones on, you can literally hear it." Then, almost whispering, he added, "We don't know the whole story. We don't know if this was intentional or something else." Joe Rogan leaned forward, half joking, half dead serious. "Hold on, what if this was an accident? Like a celebratory shot gone wrong at some event?" The person next to him blinked. "Wait, you're saying someone fired into the air, and that's what caused all of this?" Silence. The kind that drags on too long. Then Candace spoke again, steady and deliberate. "I've had this information for over a week. I checked it against multiple trusted sources. Every single one of them matched. The pattern is undeniable." And just like that, the so-called closed case cracked open again. "This isn't speculation," Candace Owens said firmly. "It's confirmed evidence." She paused, locking eyes with the camera. "And yet, major media outlets are silent. Why?" Her voice hardened. "Because if this information went public, the entire official story would collapse, and they know it." The words landed like a blade. Not a conclusion, but a warning that what we've seen so far is only the tip of a very dark iceberg. Then came the turn no one expected. "Let's bring in Joe Rogan," Candace said. "Because this is where things get interesting." Rogan, famous for asking the questions others won't touch, had completely rejected the official version from the start. On his show, he pointed out a chilling, almost forgotten detail: a mysterious witness who appeared moments after the chaos erupted. According to multiple accounts, an elderly man emerged suddenly from the crowd, shouting incoherent words and causing total confusion. Some witnesses even claimed they heard him yell, "I did it!" His behavior made no sense: wild, erratic, completely out of place. The scene dissolved into chaos. People screamed, cameras shook, and in the noise, key evidence vanished. Rogan suggested this bizarre outburst wasn't random. It might have been a planned distraction, timed perfectly to derail what really happened. Then Rogan lowered his voice, eyes narrowed. "The strangest part," he said quietly, "is that this man isn't a stranger." He revealed that the same individual has been seen at multiple major national events over the past few years, always lurking at moments of conflict, tragedy, or upheaval. Every time America was shaken, this shadow appeared in the background. "When the same face shows up at different crises," Rogan said, "that's not coincidence, it's a pattern. A signal that this story runs much deeper than anyone realizes. What are the odds that this just happened by chance?" He even joked darkly, "If we ran this through an AI probability model, it'd probably spit out a number close to zero." And then came the twist that no one saw coming. Just days after the latest incident, that same mysterious man was arrested, on completely unrelated charges tied to a different case. Coincidence? Or cleanup? Either way, the silence in Rogan's studio said it all. Something about this story doesn't just feel wrong, it feels designed. Because of that sudden arrest, no one could reach or question the man anymore. He had vanished straight into the detention system. And as Joe Rogan pointed out, the timing was way too convenient. He shows up, creates chaos, then disappears behind legal walls where no one can talk to him? "Come on," Joe said. "That's not coincidence, that's choreography." But Rogan didn't stop there. Not even close. He turned his attention back to the official story, the one claiming that a 22-year-old suspect used his grandfather's century-old shotgun to pull off the impossible. According to the report, the suspect supposedly disassembled the ancient firearm, stuffed it into a backpack, climbed to the top of a building, then reassembled it, piece by piece, before carrying out a long-range act with pinpoint accuracy. Joe actually laughed out loud. "That's mechanically impossible," he said flatly. "Even for a trained professional, it would take time, tools, precision, and there's no way in hell that thing fits in a regular backpack." He broke it down further: the barrel length, the weight, the fragility of the parts, all wrong for the timeline investigators claimed. "You're talking about a weapon that's practically a museum piece," Joe explained. "You don't rebuild that on a rooftop like it's a Lego set." And then he pointed out the biggest red flag of all: the perfect timeline. According to the report, the suspect somehow finished his act, left the roof unnoticed, and disappeared cleanly into the crowd. "If everything lines up too perfectly," Joe said with a smirk, "maybe it's because it was never true to begin with." His tone wasn't wild speculation, it was cold logic. For years, Rogan's worked with experts in firearms, military training, and tactical gear, and he said flatly, what that report describes isn't just unlikely, it's physically impossible. He offered a chilling metaphor. "Imagine this," Joe said. "You plant an ancient gun in the woods, sprinkle in a few fake details, then cue a random man to show up shouting nonsense to distract everyone. The result? Total chaos. And buried beneath that chaos is the truth, hidden under layers of deliberate confusion." He called it a strategy, controlled distortion, a system built to muddy the facts just enough so the real story never surfaces. And according to Rogan, that's exactly what's happening with Charlie Kirk. Every single time someone tries to dig deeper, Joe said, another bizarre detail pops up out of nowhere, like someone's rewriting the script in real time. It was as if someone were controlling the pulse of the information clock, timing every twist perfectly. A random man shouting impossible confessions. A weapon that didn't match the forensic data. Security footage conveniently lost at the exact moment it mattered most. Tiny inconsistencies, each insignificant alone, now forming a mountain of confusion. It didn't feel natural anymore. It felt orchestrated. A puzzle built not to reveal truth, but to bury it under noise. And that's what caught everyone's attention. The creeping sense that the truth wasn't missing, it was being buried alive. But here's the catch. Not everyone stands with Candace Owens. Some say she's dramatizing, spinning theories that stretch too far. Others believe she's the only one bold enough to say what others won't. That split turned the entire discussion into a storm of opinions, tearing across podcasts, panels, and timelines. Even Joe Rogan, at first, dismissed parts of Candace's claims before the story exploded. But in a later debate, the tension between them laid bare what was really at stake. Rogan said bluntly, "You don't need an opinion on everything. It's smarter to admit when you don't have enough data to decide." It was sharp, but fair. "Just because something feels suspicious," he said, "doesn't mean it's a conspiracy." Candace didn't flinch. "I never said I knew for sure," she replied calmly. "I just said something doesn't add up." That moment crystallized the core conflict of the entire saga: instinct versus evidence. This wasn't just political anymore, it was philosophical. What is truth, when everyone defines it differently? Rogan pressed again, "Then why say you don't believe it? Why not wait until you actually know?" Candace answered softly, "Because I'm not claiming certainty. I'm just acknowledging that something isn't right. Maybe saying, 'I don't know' is more honest. I never said it was true, I said it didn't make sense." And oddly enough, that honesty struck a balance. Rogan was right, claims demand proof. But Candace was right too. When contradictions pile up, pretending everything's fine becomes its own kind of lie. That clash, between data and doubt, between logic and instinct, became the heartbeat of the entire story. Not just about Charlie Kirk, or politics, or media silence, but about something deeper: how truth dies, not from lies, but from the noise that replaces it. The Charlie Kirk story has now turned into more than just an incident. It's a clash between skepticism and belief, a messy hunt for truth in chaotic times. Everyone knows something doesn't add up, but there isn't enough solid proof to draw any final conclusion. Candace Owens says she's relying on private sources she can't reveal, which makes it hard to verify her claims. On the other hand, Joe Rogan insists on seeing real evidence before anyone starts assuming anything. Both of them have a point. When an official report is full of contradictions, and people close to the case say Charlie felt unsafe before it all happened, the public has every right to ask questions. That's not spreading rumors, that's demanding honesty. But the media's response made everything worse. MSNBC aired a shocking theory, claiming the entire thing might have been an accident caused by one of Charlie's own supporters. According to their host, an overly enthusiastic fan might have gone overboard celebrating the campus event. The idea immediately caused outrage, not just because it sounded absurd, but because it showed how the media was twisting the story instead of exposing the truth. When Joe Rogan heard this, his reaction was pure disbelief. He called the theory ridiculous and accused the media of creating distractions instead of focusing on the real investigation. He said bluntly, "They'll do anything as long as they don't face the real question." The MSNBC host even tried to justify it by saying maybe it was just a celebratory shot, like at a big gathering. Joe's sarcastic reply said it all. "What is this, Independence Day?" His expression showed shock and disappointment. Even after all the inconsistencies, some outlets still tried to shift the blame onto conservatives, suggesting that Charlie Kirk supporters were careless, a theory that made even less sense than the official story itself. He says it flat out, "That's not journalism, that's distortion." And that single line exposes just how desperate some are to rewrite the story. Here's what we actually know. Charlie Kirk told several people he felt unsafe right before the incident. Multiple witnesses backed it up and even wrote it down. Yet the official version expects us to believe that a 22-year-old with zero training disassembled an antique gun, hid it in a backpack, climbed onto a roof, reassembled it perfectly, and then made a precision shot from afar. Joe Rogan, who's worked with countless technical experts, didn't hold back. He said it's mechanically impossible. Meanwhile, Candace Owens, one of Charlie's closest allies, says this entire ordeal has shattered her faith in politics. She believes something bigger is at play, that powerful figures wanted Charlie silenced. Joe, on the other hand, thinks the chaos, contradictions, and random distractions are all deliberate, part of a strategy to keep the truth buried until people simply give up asking. So now the question is yours. Was this really the work of one lone person? Or is there a deeper story buried under all the noise? Did Candace Owens have a point when she said Charlie sensed something was coming? Drop your thoughts below, and if you're done with sugar-coated media spins, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video so more people can see what's really happening.